Thank you so much for watching Riff TV. Now, this interview is obviously with video, but I don't interview everybody on Zoom. That's why I put it on my Talkin' Rock with Meltdown podcast. We talk to rock artists from all over the genre. So check out Talkin' Rock with Meltdown wherever you get your podcasts. And now to today's video interview. And there we go. Better late than never. My first interview from 2023 is with Chris Daughtry. How you doing, my friend?
I'm great, Meltdown. Good to see you again.
Yeah, good to see you. Last time I saw you, you were on stage. I didn't get to see you, but I saw the show, the Dearly Beloved show. I want to say that was back in maybe in the spring here in Detroit. Is that right?
Yeah, that sounds about right. So we probably had Pat Dahlheimer from Live on bass, huh?
I believe so. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah, so that was a great show. How'd that tour go for you?
It was great, man. Honestly, we were just happy to be back on stage, and honestly, we were shocked at the turnout. You know, we figured that people were still going to be a little reluctant to come out, but I mean, the response was incredible. So we were very happy with how it turned out.
Yeah, it seems like people were caged up for a little bit and they wanted to get out. But did you notice on this last tour that people were reluctant to buy tickets until closer to the dates, or no? Or were you? Or
Yes,
that
there was definitely some dates where we were like, oh, this is going to look rough tonight, and then we'd walk out on stage, we're like, holy shit, it looks great. So yeah, I think a lot of people were, worried that the show was going to get canceled, or if they'd have to show a Vax card, or if they'd have to, there were so many, variables that people were rightfully concerned about that, probably they were scared to spend the money too soon and then have to go through all the pain in the ass to get refunded and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, it worked out great.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, weren't you maybe supposed to go on tour, maybe in the middle of a Seven Dust tour or something, or when the whole thing stopped? Is that true? Or I can't remember where you were in the. Or
No,
were you about to go on one?
we were on tour when everything shut down, but we did go out we started the tour with Seven Dust and Tremonti, and then my daughter passed, and we had to cancel the tour, and so when we geared back up to make up all the dates, Tremonti was still available to do it, but Seven Dust had already booked their anniversary Animosity tour, so it was a bummer that we only got to do like 5 shows with them, but I love those guys to death, man.
Yeah, you've really cultivated some pretty cool connections in the rock world with some of these bands, haven't you?
Yeah, it's crazy. A lot of these guys, I go way back. You know, when our first record came out, we got to do shows with so many bands that we probably, shouldn't have been on the bill. You know, when we looked at it, we're like, how is this working out? But it was crazy to find out the fan base that we kind of shared through rock, and that a lot of the fans crossed over, and I've kept in contact with so many of those guys over the years, and they've become like family to me. So we've been very fortunate to play with some incredible bands that we respect, and that have shown us, mutual respect as well. So it's a good feeling, being embraced back in that community after being away for so long.
Now, how long have you been in Nashville?
In July, it'll be 7 years, I think.
Okay, so not that long, and there's a lot of people
Yeah.
obviously that have been in Nashville, and that leads me to my next point. You're talking about these connections and stuff, and you and Lzzy Hale did this Separate Ways, the Journey song.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, she's down there and stuff, and you're down there, and you kind of know her, and so I heard the story about you're watching Stranger Things and whatnot, and I was doing the same thing. My first thought is, why didn't you cover a Master of Puppets? But we can talk about that some other time. But
somehow we would have got raked over the coals on that one.
But I have heard some versions of that Kate Bush song, which is funny because I think I'm 10 years older than you, and I don't remember that song when it first came out. And apparently it made this big. I mean, that song was like, just woven throughout the whole series. So you're sitting at home watching this with your wife, and you hear Separate Ways, and you're just like,
I got to cover that song and I know exactly how to do it, or did it stick in your head for a little while, or what happened?
It's stuck in my head. That whole scene was so impactful that I think I knew the song, obviously, but it was kind of like a reminder that how great this song is, and the way they chopped it up and combined it with the cinematic aspect. I was like, man, this, because me and the guys were in back on the tour. We were talking about we need to come out, we need to do a cool cover. Like we always do covers live, but we need to record something that would really, hopefully, leave a mark or uh, be unexpected. And we had kind of kicked around. We wanted to do something kind of from the '80s, something that was iconic. And I remember we were in the dressing room one day, and Final Countdown came on, and we were like, "Ooh, that'd be kind of a cool thing to tackle." But then the more I thought about it, the more I realized I don't know if we could get past the cheese factor of it, you know, um, and make it, serious. So we kind of put it on the back burner. And then when I saw that episode of Stranger Things, I was like, that's it. It's got the cool synth thing. It's, the melodies are just infectious, and it's already got a heavy vibe to it, even from the original back in the '80s. So I was like, man, if we can do this in a modern way and make it really cool, that'd be awesome. And then one thing led to another, and the idea came up of what if we did it as a duet? And I immediately thought of Lzzy, and I called her up and I was like, hey, because we had talked about, Lzzy and I had been talking about doing a song, whether it be an original or a cover, for a long time. And when we did that acoustic tour, she came out on one of the dates, and we did an acoustic cover of Man in the Box. And I was thinking maybe we should record that. And then when this idea came up, I was like, hey, would you be interested in doing Separate Ways? She goes, that's my go-to karaoke song. Absolutely. So it just kind of worked out, and it turned out incredible. But Lzzy and I, we met years and years ago when I was working on, I think she was working on her first record with Howard Benson, and I was on my second one.
Mm.
And I ran into her at the studio, and they were this up and coming, band. And I just thought she was so cool. And then we've done shows together ever since. We toured together back in 2013, and we've been talking about doing something forever. And this just happened to be the right time.
Now, have you heard anything from the Journey camp?
Yeah, Neil Schon responded to a tweet or something that was posted saying "sounds strong" or something like that. But I haven't heard anything from anybody else. So and I don't. I have a feeling that I'm not going to hear anything from Steve Perry.
Why not? I think
I don't know. I don't know. I feel like there's probably there's some political stuff going on in that camp that he probably doesn't get involved in. But
yeah. So you mentioned Man in the Box. So was it just this last week you jumped up on stage in a Nashville bar with Lzzy and did that with an Alice in Chains cover song? Is that right?
yeah, we it was grunge night, and we were both booked to do. We both had agreed to do that, but we didn't know each other were doing it. And when they posted about it, who was all going to be there, I was like, "Oh my God, you're going to be there too!" And she was already going to do an Alice in Chains song, and I was doing an Alice in Chains song, and a couple other from the '90s.
So
And
what was your song you were supposed to do?
I did Lakini's Juice from Live,
From
and
live,
I
yeah.
did Creep from Radiohead, and then I did Sunshine, which is one of my favorite Alice in Chains
Yeah.
songs. And she did Rain When I Die. I was like, this is just weird. You're doing Rain, I'm doing Sunshine. And then we just kind of were like, are y'all prepared to play Man in the Box? And they were like, dude, we know it backwards and forwards. I was like, what if we ended the show and we jumped up and did it together? So that was kind of like a surprise thing that was unplanned, unrehearsed, and it was a lot of fun.
And where was that at? Which bar was that in?
The Basement East.
Oh, okay. I haven't been in that place yet. I got to get down there. I've been there a bunch of times. Yeah,
It's a cool spot.
I've heard about it. Yeah.
I don't really get out much in Nashville, so it's one of the few bars that I've visited. And then it got hit by a tornado a couple years ago, so they just rebuilt it.
Mm.
That was the first time I've been there since they rebuilt it, but it was cool. We had a great time.
Yeah, I remember seeing Alice in Chains for the first time on the Clash of the Titans tour. Did you ever hear that tour?
No,
With
no, I missed out on that.
Yeah, well, you were young. Slayer, Megadeth, Anthrax, and a brand new band called Alice in Chains. Can you imagine going up on stage in front of those guys and their
That's
fans?
how I felt when I had to open for Seven Dust and Hell Yeah. I was like, one of these things is not like the other, guys. Come on.
But you know what? Knowing those guys like I do, and I don't know them very well. I knew Vinny pretty well, and Lzzy I know a little bit, but it's like they probably brought you into open arms, didn't they?
This was what I remember. I remember being on stage, um, terrified that we were going to get booed, and I look over and I see Vinnie Paul and Morgan Rose and Chad Gray and Lejean all over there, like just
Yeah.
feeling it. And I was like, "We're good. We're in good." Even if the crowd thinks we suck, we've got their approval right now, and that's all that matters.
What's some of your favorite memories from VP?
Um, that was my only time meeting him,
Oh, is that right?
and
Okay.
and and so we we spoke briefly, and he was super nice, just the sweetest guy,
Hmm.
and had nothing but compliments to give us, and I just remember that being something that was completely unexpected, and it definitely made us feel good and welcome.
Yeah. So, Dearly Beloved came out a couple years back. So, what's going on in your camp right now?
Well, we're about to get back in the studio and get creative again. I've been the last couple years I've been kind of just singing a bunch of gibberish in my phone. I've got a bunch of voice memos that are song starts, and we're ready to get back in and create some new stuff again.
Now, will Separate Ways be on the next record?
Uh, it's a big possibility. Yeah.
Okay.
We felt like with the response, we're like, man, this feels like kind of like the catalyst for our next chapter. So it might have to go on there, you know.
Yeah. What kind of stuff has been influencing? I'm sure there. I'm just I don't know. I guess I'm kind of speaking a little bit out of school, but will something be on the record about your daughter?
Oh, I don't think there's going to be a way that I can avoid that.
Yeah.
I think at this point, I think I'm on this, being on the other side of it, I'm able to maybe approach it in a way that's probably more hopeful and less depressing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that is certainly going to be a big inspiration for the lyrics of this record, I think. But as far as bands that I've been listening to, I mean, it's stuff that there's nothing like us that I'm just heavily inspired by lately. The new record from Nothing More is in my opinion top to bottom the best rock record of the year.
No, I'll have to
Um,
dig into that one. I haven't had a chance to
I
check it out
mean,
yet.
I love every song, and I've listened to it ad nauseum. And Johnny is a good friend of mine, and I have so much respect for that guy as a vocalist. There's few people out there that I respect. I've always been drawn to singers, and there's a few singers out there that make me really jealous of what they're able to do with their voice.
Mhm.
Lzzy Hale is one of them, and Johnny Hawkins is another. They've just got so much control of every aspect of their voice, and it's really inspiring. And I love what those guys do. And I got to see them live. We did what was it? Blue Ridge Rock Fest with
I was
them,
going to say one of the
and
festivals. Yeah.
yeah, and I got to see them live for the first time, and I was just blown away. I mean,
Yeah, I'm
those
really
guys are
jealous that
incredible.
Johnny goes up on stage and takes his shirt off. Screw that guy. I just hate that.
He's such an animal on stage, man, covered in war paint and barefoot and
Yeah.
just killing it.
No, he's a good guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so with this year coming up, so you haven't even started recording anything. You're just going to go out on tour, and then you're going to kind of try to record in between like stops, or
Yeah, we're gonna start the writing process probably in February,
Okay.
and then we're gonna hit the road, and we're headed to the UK in March, getting to do Royal Albert Hall for the first time. So
Wow,
that's
that's pretty
that's
cool.
exciting, and intimidating at the same time. So we got a few shows in the UK, and then I think we got some Canadian dates lined up because we didn't get a chance to do it last year. For whatever reason, it just didn't work out financially for us to get over there. But we're looking forward to doing that because we haven't been in Canada in years. So, and then the primary focus is getting some new stuff out, whether it be a single or a whole record. We're definitely going to have something to release, hopefully within the spring, of this year.
Yeah, and you're doing it wise if you decide to go to Canada during the summertime. I'm not sure why bands tour there in the wintertime, but um
I don't know why we tour at all in the winter, unless it's like Hawaii or somewhere tropical. It just feels like for us singers, it just feels like we're shooting ourselves in the foot every time because it's always like, oh, we're such a slave to the elements, and some days are great and some days we're fighting a head cold, and it's like, why do we keep doing this to ourselves?
yeah. You're talking about singers and having control and stuff. One of the guys I watch, and I think he just seems so effortless, is Miles. I mean, you've seen
Oh,
him before.
that dude that's an anomaly. I don't even know. I don't even know how he does any of the stuff. I don't even ask. It's like you're obviously an alien.
Yeah, no kidding.
And
It's like
and he's a and what's funny is Tremont Mark was like, it's crazy. Me and Slash always, I'm speaking for Mark. He's
yeah.
like, me and Slash are always saying Miles is the best guitar player in both of our bands.
That is funny. And speaking of Mark, his Sinatra thing's pretty cool as well. I was kind of shocked by that whole thing.
It's crazy how much he sounds like Frank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love Frank. I don't know. I have an old friend of mine that we used to drink beers and just listen to Frank Sinatra at night. And it's like, kind of brings back a lot of memories. But he wrote some pretty timeless songs.
Yeah, I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember Mark sent me Luck Be a Lady before anybody knew about he's like, keep this top secret, but I want you to see, hear what I'm working on. And I was like, holy, what the hell is this? Is this you? I was blown away because I was like, this sounds like I'm listening to a modern recording of Frank Sinatra.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. He was like talking about how much he studied every nuance of how he's saying things and how he took different, beats and breaths. I mean, he's one of those guys that he's a very studious person.
Yeah. And not only is the record cool, but it's also, he did it for his charity,
Yeah.
which is fantastic. So,
Yeah, he's
that was,
such a great guy.
yeah, a really good dude. He's from here,
From
Detroit.
Yeah, I didn't know he was from
Yeah.
Detroit. I always thought he was from Florida.
Yeah, right. So Alter
Yeah.
Bridge was actually a bridge here in Detroit, which is no longer around.
I had no idea.
Then you learn something new every day.
I mean, seriously, he's been holding back.
So I got a couple listener questions.
Yeah.
A girl I went to school with, she's like, he's so hot. I'm like, that's not a question. She's like, okay, well, how does he stay so hot? I'm like, oh.
That is not a question that I can even answer because one, I would have to think that I'm hot to even answer that, which is a weird thing for anybody to think. I will just say that I try my best to take care of myself and my life decisions. Some days are better than others, and I just try to live a pretty decent, healthy lifestyle for the most part.
Yeah, there you go. Like the rest of us. One of my listeners want to know, does he want to get on some rock festival lineups associated his band more with the genre? You just talked about the Blue Ridge thing, and of course,
Yeah.
these Danny Wimmer festivals are always around. Have you ever been on any of these festivals?
Yeah, we got to do Incarceration for the first time last
Oh,
year as
okay,
well. So
that's
Danny
a cool
Wimmer
one. Yeah,
has embraced us as well with open arms, and so I would imagine that we're going to end up doing more of those coming up. That is the hopes. I love doing festivals. We did a few in the UK last year for Download and Rock and Ring and Park, and that was our kind of our first dipping our toes in the rock
really.
festival world, and the response was so overwhelmingly positive. We were like, well, this is clearly what we need to be doing more of.
I think the rock fans are really open to bringing new people and accepting people and like kind of checking out some different things, especially
Yeah,
at that kind of setting.
yeah, and I think a lot of those fans were like, I think the unanimous response that we noticed was finally they're doing what we hoped they would do years ago. And so, it feels good to be on the right track.
Well, you always flew the rock flag. I don't really remember your season in American Idol is a little bit out of my wheelhouse, but
Yeah.
you always flew the rock flag. So it's not like this is some phony thing that you're just trying to cash in on or do whatever. So that's like it's
Yeah.
really kind of in you.
Yeah. It's always been, it's been my roots ever since I started, getting in front of a microphone or picking up a guitar. So to me, there was a phase of my career when I look back on that didn't feel like me, and that felt, like it was, that felt like trying to do something or trying to reach for something based on, what people were doing on popular radio and stuff like that. And it was, and being on a major label that didn't really know what to do with us because they
Yeah.
didn't, they wanted to keep us in that hot AC wheelhouse. And so once I broke away from that, and I was able to really go, what do I want to do? Where is my heart, and what inspired me to even do this in the first place? And that was when the light went off. I'm like, duh. I mean, why am I not doing a record like that?
Hmm. Yeah. Did you grow up basically on a 90s rock grunge?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I thought, okay, yeah.
I mean, before that was Guns N' Roses and Metallica. That was kind of like my introduction to rock or metal, at the tender age of 9 or 10. um, and I just remember, and Skid Row. I was big into Skid Row.
Mhm.
When I was a kid, I just have always been drawn to, uh, melodies that would stick in your head, and powerful vocalists. And then when the 90s hit, it was all over. I was all in.
Yeah, everything changed. The new Skid Row record, by the way, is really good with Eric there, Gronwell.
Oh, I got to check it out.
Yeah, I really like it a lot. And it does have a lot of elements from, Nick Raskulinecz did that record.
Oh, okay.
And so he kind of told the guys, put yourself back where you were.
Yeah, yeah.
But I mean, Slave to the Grind, that's, my favorite. But a listener want to know who would be your dream collaboration?
Oh, I have so many. I obviously, Lzzy was up there, and we got to do that. So that's, I got to cross that off my bucket list. Going back to Johnny, I think it would be cool to do something with him. We've kind of toyed around with the idea to figure something out, but who knows? We'll see.
Maybe you can do something with Mark and he can do the Frank part.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Well, listen, man, I'll cut you loose here. Of course, I was going to say new records coming up, but nothing yet. Just working on some stuff, recording Separate
Yeah,
Ways is
just
out with Lzzy Hale. No Master of Puppets. No Running Up the Hill. Uh, hey, by the way, speaking of that kind of stuff, on National Popcorn Day, what's the last movie you saw?
I just went to see, The Way of Water, Avatar.
Oh, what'd you think? I haven't seen that one yet.
Oh man, have you seen the first one?
Yeah, I'm not a huge Avatar guy, but I did see it. Yeah.
So I wasn't either. So I went back and rewatched the first one to refresh my memory, because it was so long ago when that first one came out. The sequel is phenomenal. Like,
Hmm.
I went. I hate seeing movies in 3D, but I went and did it because I was told that, like, it's that good, and I was just floored. What James Cameron was able to do in this film, visually, is just,
Hmm.
I've never seen anything like it. It's incredible.
Well, maybe I'll have to go check it out. I did see Top Gun Maverick in the theater twice because I went with like my kids or something. I think I went with some of my neighbors, but that was something you got to see in the theater.
Yeah, I missed it. I totally missed out on that one.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Find one of your rock star buddies down there in Nashville with a big screen, and check
Yeah,
it out
yeah,
at
yeah,
their house.
exactly.
But but that was pretty cool. But I saw Skinamarink over the weekend. Oh my god, it's just unbearable. I'm a horror movie guy, and it was supposed to be really
Okay.
scary, and it was just beyond
I
terrible.
saw you posted something. You're
Oh
like,
yeah,
it's
exactly. Yeah,
terrible.
it was awful. It was like so
Yeah.
bad. I was off on Monday. I had to write a review on it on Monday because it was so bad. I didn't want people like wasting their money on it. It's like, let me stop you right now.
Well, this isn't a horror, but have you seen The Menu?
Mm-mm.
Oh,
The Menu.
oh, just that's all I'll say. I think it just came out on Apple, but I think it's on HBO Max now. It's got uh, uh, Joseph Fiennes, um, a few other actors you'd recognize.
I think I've
But
heard of that now that you mentioned it. But yeah,
oh,
I haven't seen it
it is.
obviously.
I've been very like. There's been few movies lately that I've felt like were fresh after seeing it. Like, oh, that was a fresh concept, and this one is top of the list.
That's the thing. It's like I'm always looking for something different. And if it's different and weird, it can still be good. This movie I saw the other day was just awful, but I saw like, Megan last,
Yeah,
that was pretty cool.
I've heard it's good.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
They just announced a sequel for it, so it had to do something.
Yeah.
But The
Well,
Menu,
the Menu. Okay.
it is it's not horror, but there's a lot of killing. I'll just say that.
I saw Terrifier 2 in the theater. It can't be more than that. I'll tell you that much. Hey, Chris, thanks so much for your time. I
It's good
really
to talk to you,
appreciate it.
man. Always.